Hi everyone. I am setting up to make paper pumpkin alternatives for the July kit called Sending Good Thoughts, which I'm not going to be able to get in here. There, Sending Good Thoughts. Um, it's the one that made these 3 cards as intended, which are gorgeous in their own right. I really think Stampin' Up! Stepped up their game this month, and next month's kit is going to be wonderful as well. So if you are not subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, you might want to be for next month. Anyway, I honestly don't feel like you need to make alternatives from this kit because these cards are all so gorgeous and they can be sent to anyone thinking of you, wishing you all the best. And I did Sending Good Thoughts. So who wouldn't like to get a card like that, right? I wouldn't mind. Anyway, I pulled out all the bits that are remaining. I haven't set up the stamp set yet. And I pulled out 3 other stamp sets I thought I could perhaps use. This season of Chic has some brush stroke, some clamshell things, and some dots that could double as sand as well. Also, Waves of Inspiration. This is still current even though the paper retired. However, I also have a lot of that paper left. Now, if you didn't have, this was a special online only. The paper is no longer available, but the colors in it are Pacific Point, which is one of the colors in here, and Coastal Cabana, which is a little lighter than Bermuda Bay, but oops, sorry, but you see it probably would go with that Bermuda Bay. I don't know. I'm just guessing right now that I could use it for something, right? We'll see. We'll see what I do. Anyway, I have a lot of that, like here. This paper's pretty, would probably go with that. So I may do something with this because I have a lot of this paper left. It also has some other colors in it, but you know. And then also I brought out Friends Are Like Seashells. And I believe I have an embossing folder. Yes, one of the, in fact I have some bits already embossed and maybe I can use them. Die cut and emboss, but it's got lots of shells and smaller ones too, and seagrass. So, and of course I have the stamp set that goes with the kit. I love this ship and the message in a bottle and the tiny little seahorse. Now I don't have a Stampin' Up! Seahorse, but I do have a larger seahorse from a different company. But since this is Stampin' Up!, I will not use the other non-Stampin' Up! Products for Paper Pumpkin alternatives because this is more for people that are buying the kit, and plus my other non-Stampin' Up! Products are so old that perhaps they won't be available either from whatever company, right? So, I also have one Balmy Blue cardstock base, which is crooked. I have to fix it, and a scrap that was in my little bin on my desk. And this is Coastal Cabana, but I think that kind of goes well with the Bermuda Bay. So I pulled those 2 out just because they were here on my desk. I kind of go through. I also have an old Seaside Spray. I might leave that out, and just a card front. I don't know that I'll use that, but hey, it's on my desk and I need to use it, right? That's retired color. The other 2 are current. And of course all these lovely things here. So let me, now the envelopes this time are plain inside, so I'm not going to use them for alternatives, to be honest. I may stamp on them. I don't know that did I? Yes, I did stamp on them, even for the first 3. So I'm going to just use them as envelopes. So, but I do have all these card bases that I can use either as a mat or a base. So let me figure some things out and I'll come back with finished alternatives. I'm not going to do a process video. because, oh, and I also pulled out, sorry, one more thing. I pulled out a few gemmy things. These faux sea glass shapes. I don't know that they carry, I don't think they carried over because they're just jade, old olive, and white. But just jade in them looks pretty close to that Bermuda Bay. So I'm planning, I haven't used them yet, and I have 2 of them. Also, these are retired, these silver and clear epoxy essentials, I think. And I thought maybe these raindrop looking things, or the rounds. And these, you know, I've been using a lot. This is Coastal Cabana, I believe. Yes. And so, and it sort of has an iridescence to it. And I thought that would be beautiful on these cards too, because they didn't really give us any gems. And then of course I have the Waves Basic Jewels, and guess what? I have 2 of those. And some of these colors are Coastal Cabana, and some of these would go with the Pacific Point, like this one. So I plan on using some of those probably. So those are the gems I pulled out. Only, I don't think any of them are current, but I have them here to use. You can use whatever you desire. Okay? Alright, now I'll say, let me get started, and I'll come back and do a project share. See you soon. Alrighty, I'm back. What I have left from the kit is one piece of gray because I had buried it and I forgot I had it. Some of the linen thread, because on some of the cards you'll see I used a different color twine. I have, of course, the stamp set, and I have these 3 sheets, one of which I used as a stencil, and I'll show you that when we get there. So I saved the other ones because I figured I can use them as stencils as well. That is it for what I have left from the kit, which means I can get rid of the box. So let me show you the cards. Okay, this is on a thick basic white card base. This is one of the card fronts, I believe the Bermuda Bay color, but I ran it through this embossing folder into the clouds, and it came out pretty nice. I don't know if you can see that there. And I think I spritzed it with Wink of Stella, because I'm seeing some little dots of shimmer. I can't remember. I made them in 2 sittings. This is approximately half of a card front that came in the kit. That let me get the 3 made as intended so I can tell you this one. But I don't know if you remember, if you watched my unveiling, these clouds on the sheet look darker. I just wanted them to pop a little more, so I took the white ink we have and a finger dauber, and I daubed the clouds, not mountains, clouds. And then I put it on a Pacific Point die cut with the scallop contour dies, and it was this one, the 2nd largest one, did that border, I believe, yes. And then I stamped the ship in Bermuda Bay, and I fussy cut it. And what I did is I took this, I have this, I think I got this at Dollar Tree actually a long time ago. I'm not sure. I think so, because it's not the best quality. Anyway, it worked. I put it on my cutting mat, which is a pink mat I have under here. Cut a slit across, and I did color with light balmy blue alcohol marker in between the sails to make it pop a little more. And also I took the nib point of dark Daffodil Delight on here, and a gray, I guess it was Smoky Slate up here on those dots. Anyway, and I stuck then the ship partway into the water to make it look like it was in the water. And stamped Thinking of You. I think this is my own, yeah, this is my own piece of 1/2 inch white, and I just flagged it, and I did the same treatment on the starfish from the kit. This they're all glued down. This is from the kit and bumped up on mini dimensionals actually. And then these were the waves rhinestones in like a Coastal Cabana. And inside, I took the negative from this piece. I went all over it with Pacific Point on Pacific Point with the little sand stamp that came in the kit. I stamped some of the seagrass and the starfish, and I had this one little piece of coral or some kind of sea plant, and I kind of tucked that into the corner and glued it down on the frame where the other ones are under the frame. So that is how I did the first card. I don't think I stamped on the envelopes. I just put envelopes with them. So that's card 1. Then card 2, I had the other half of that piece. Same thing. I had done the white cloud. I made the clouds more white. This is a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. And this is Pacific Point cardstock. I actually cut a 1-inch circle out and colored it with, I think it's Dark Daffodil Delight also, because I had stamped these birds here, and that's the only thing I ended up using out of Waves of Inspiration, is that little bird. However, I had to trim it down because, I don't know if you can see, I cut it there, because the edge of it was too big and I was getting marks, and I really had kind of a mess of a one there, so I covered it with like a sun or moon or something. Here I stamped the message in a bottle thing and used it as a post. This was from the kit. I fussy cut that. This was another piece of that coral, Poppy Parade coral. This was a scrap of craft paper, which I used recently, and you have probably not seen that yet, but I had this strip left, so I put that down here like sand and used the dotted thing and dotted it with crumb cake on craft. And this was one of the circles from the kit. The sentiments from the kit I stamped in Pacific Point, wishing you all the best. And I just trimmed it so it would go along that piece of craft. This is the thread from the kit. And these are those sea glass. I think they retired, and I had never used them, but I used actually the olive green, and I put some all around that post, like it's, you know, you have rocks on near the post, and then I just spread some out in where the sandy areas were. And the inside on that one, I'm sorry, is just white. There you go. So that was my card 2. Card 3 is a little easier one. I just brought in a Coastal Cabana, I think, card base, pretty sure. Which means these look like Pool Party. Anyway, here I have half of one of those, this card front, approximately half, and I put it on a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock, and I just stamped the Sending Good Thoughts. I cut one of these in half and made it more dimensional that way, and kind of glued it down over here, and then brought it up over the sentiment and tacked it down with some glue dots. And then I used a little linen thread bow. And then these are the 2021 to 2023 in color opal rounds, and first time I used them, and this is the Fresh Freesia color. These are really pretty. I might have to get another pack of those because I can see I'm going to run out of certain colors really fast. I just used 3 of them, and I thought that broke up some of the green. Oh, and I stamped on the Coastal Cabana. I stamped the starfish stamp all down here and up the side, and then on top of that the sea plant or whatever, just to ground it a little bit. And inside I just have the starfish and one little thing of sea plant, whatever it is. That's the card 3. Card 4, this is a piece of the gray. It's probably the other half of that one I misplaced and didn't end up using. And this I ran through the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. You know, I think we had a Waves embossing folder, which would have been good, but I might have sold that already. And if not, I don't know where I put it. Anyway, that's what I did. And I don't know if I truly recommend doing that because this has a white core. I actually had to trim it down smaller than I originally anticipated. I originally cut it 4 by 5 1/4, but you can see there's a little more room on top and bottom because it made the edges rough, even though I trimmed it before I put it through the embossing folder, and then I actually had to trim another 1/8 of an inch off after I put it through, and I still see a little white piece up here. Anyway, I did the same thing as I did on the last one. I put Bermuda Bay behind that striped part, only this time I put the one bottle, stamped the message in it, the other part of that one coral that I used previously, the starfish, and I stamped Wishing You All the Best in basic gray. And I did go around the edges of this with light Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blend, the alcohol marker, because my die marker wasn't showing up. Oh, and here I used I believe this is gray granite out of the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, which I believe is still current in Stampin' Up's annual catalog. And again, those Waves rhinestones jewels, which are retired. And inside I just stamped in, actually the Poppy Parade is this color. And that's it for that one. Okay, now the next one I'm really kind of tickled about. This one is where I used this part as a stencil right here, this one. And I took a sponge on basic white cardstock. I actually cut it to 4 by 5 1/4, and I used Pacific Point, and that gives all these coral type things, right? And then I took a blending brush and I used Coastal Cabana, I think, or possibly Bermuda Bay. It might have been Bermuda Bay. Not exactly sure anymore. But I used one of them and went over it after the ink dried from dabbing. And you kind of had to push hard. And I actually turned it a few times, so I have it going every which way. And then I brought in, well, before I go there, then I took my water spritzer bottle, which I have temporarily misplaced. I think I have it here to refill somewhere. Anyway, and I didn't spray it. Well, I sprayed it once, but then I took let me see if I can find it. I have a different one. I actually, this is not the water, but I took this part out and put water droplets all over, and then I let it dry. And while I let that dry, I got out A Fish and a Wish, and I stamped this fish, and then once this was dry, I used this also, and used Bermuda Bay. I don't know if you can see them here, just a few different places for the waves. I also stamped in Poppy Parade one of the seahorse from the kit, and then these were little bits left from this piece here that I used on a different card, right? And put the little bottle here and the thread and stamped Thinking of You in Poppy Parade, which I had to re-ink because it was kind of low. And this seahorse is from the kit. So I think that came out really pretty cool. it got kind of fuzzy, and I think that happened more, it was a little fuzzy to begin with because of the sponge on that paper, but then I think it got a little more fuzzy when I spritzed it at first, and I don't know if you can tell, there are little water droplets on here, and I meant to put like little gems, but I don't know that I need to. I think the inside on that one is blank. Yep. And that's on one of the Bermuda Bay color card bases that came in the kit. So there. Okay, so next up then is this one. Now by this time my creativity was starting to wane a little bit. Sorry, things are falling here. One sec. So this is one of the gray cards from the kit. This purple waves is from the kit. This is one of the tags, and on it I just stamped that seagrass, and then this was a little strip left over from cutting the Bermuda Bay card previously. This is a portion. I think, I don't know if the other part of that is on this card. This is two, I think it is. I think these are two pieces that came off this, and this is the rest of it, because it kind of stops right here. And I used 3 birds, 2 bumped up on dimensionals and 1 not. Then the circle, I actually went over it with the dots, and then but before I did that, I stamped the starfish in Bermuda Bay, and also the can't wait to see you. I had trouble with that stamp. I kept putting it on my mat, lined it up, put it on the block, and it still kind of went wavy, which I guess would be okay because it's a water theme there, right? And I think that's it. Yeah, there's nothing on the inside. I don't usually like doing that, but that's what I did. Okay, let me see. The next one is this card front, but instead of doing white on the clouds, I took that same dirty sponge, and I used Pacific Point on the clouds, and then I got out the basic gray and I added basic gray to it. I decided I wanted this to look like a stormy sea day, if you will. Put a message in the bottle, the little bottle, and I put Wink of Stella all over that bottle, which you're not going to be able to see. And there's Wink of Stella all over the water, not the clouds. I had 1 bird left, so he's up on dimensionals, minis, except I glued his 1 wing down because I was afraid it would get caught. And then these are those, I think they're retired silver and clear epoxy, and I used some of each to look like raindrops, except that I always tend to put raindrops on upside down. They actually should have the water, the big part at the bottom. Anyway, that's what I did. And sending good thoughts is what I said, because I thought, they need good thoughts on a rainy day. And I just put white on the inside, and I went around the edges in Pacific Point. And I don't have any more envelopes, so I'll have to put a white envelope with that. Now, I was kind of getting tired of doing cards, and originally I was thinking I'd do 4 little note cards because I had 2 of the Fresh Freesia card bases, but I changed my mind. So I just did these 2 little note cards, or thinking of you cards that you could send with a gift, or, attach to a gift. Originally I was thinking I'd make them tags, but then when I put the bottle on, that idea changed. And I did not bump anything up. I did stamp the ship in Bermuda Bay, and I did put Wink of Stella all over the bottle again, which you're not going to be able to tell. No. And this again is the gray twine instead of the thread. And I stamped Thinking of You in Pacific Point. Oh, this is again this card front, but I cut it into 2.5 inch wide pieces at the top and the bottom, and that left me with a strip in the middle, which I used on the next card. I'll show you that in a minute, because these ended up being like 2 5/8, 2 7/8. I can't remember exactly. Let's see, because I had a little strip left of that card too. 2 well, that says 2.5, so this must be 2 5/8 or something like that. I might have got them reversed. I didn't do anything on the inside, just those two thinking of you little cards. And then another thinking of you, I had one more of these left, and this is the other piece of this. It was a wide one, and I don't know if we can see it. It's right in the middle. I think it was this one here, and I cut it so that it looked like, what do you call that? A verdigris? No. When metal gets rusty, so it's like a metal pole, a metal pier pole or something. I tied a little bit of twine. I didn't put a bow on. I didn't think it needed a bow, but I wanted it to look like a post, and it was tied to something. My last piece of coral, I did stamp with the fresh freesia on fresh freesia, the dots and also the seagrass before I put the coral down. This is a strip that came off the card base when I cut these. This, I had another little piece left, and this is what I stamped it on. I stamped Thinking of You in Bermuda Bay. And then these again are those in color opal rounds in fresh freesia. And I did stamp in basic gray that same little bird out of the Waves set. And I think inside, yeah, I just put white and I stamped some more of the dots and the seagrass. So that's project number 9, I think. And this is the last one. Oops, it's very simple. Not sure I really like this here, but I had another strip of just the card front or card base that was Bermuda Bay. I put it on a Bermuda Bay card base, and this is the other card, the other piece that went with this back here. This and this were a card from the kit, but I didn't have any more card fronts. I had this tag, this whatever you call them, label, and this bottle left. And at first I was, oh, what am I going to do with this bottle? I decided to just stamp Wishing You All the Best in Bermuda Bay and Fresh Freesia Starfish again. And I did use Bermuda Bay here and here, just like they did in their sample, this sample here. Only I put a little more on, I think. Stamped the starfish here in Bermuda Bay. And then this is the Fresh Freesia open weave ribbon. I did carry over to the 22 to 23 annual catalog as well. Just tied a bow and put it flat. And I think that's it. Yeah, I just put a piece of white. I keep getting little bits of glue. So let's see, I think it's 10 projects alternatives. Well, they are all cards. It's just that these two I'm counting as one project. And I'm sure I'm not going to be able to show them all to you. So let's see. I mean, I just did, but do you have a favorite? I think my first one is my favorite. And this one I just liked because I liked playing with that. Anyway, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, 10 projects, plus the 3 we made from the kit as intended. which are actually really lovely cards. I like them all. So 13 projects, really 13 projects, or 12 cards in one little note card kind of thing project. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me get recognized on YouTube a little bit better. I am getting one more paper pumpkin kit, and that will be next month, which is going to be sunflowers. Everyone in the box is going to be sunflowers. And also, I realized there were 2 kits I never even opened here. And I forget which months they were. I think April and May, or May and June. I'm not sure. So at some point down the road, after I get through August's kit, the sunflowers, I'll go back and start using other kits that I haven't used yet, or that I have used some, and try and finish them. Alright guys, talk to you soon. Hugs, love, and peace. Thank you so much for watching again. Bye.